Hello, friends. You are most welcome on my YouTube channel. And today I am. This is my first day when I'm using this feature going live on my YouTube channel. Hope it goes well. My webcam. This time I'm using my laptop webcam, so you can see this blurry image over there. But I want to tell you that later. I will be I will be using a good camera for this purpose. But this time I'm just talking about the 18th century. Why this is called Augustan age. So the reason is the prosperity and what the writers of this age did. So I would like to read some notes for you guys, and we will be discussing on this topic for a few minutes. This is the first time I'm doing this, and hopefully you're gonna like it. And if I get good response, surely I will go more live in future. So the first one is the question is, what is meant by the term Augustan age? Why we tell the 18th century an Augustan age? Augustine is this is the reason that the Augustan age in Rome history. It was the most prosperous age in Roman history. Like the reign of Augustus Caesar, in it was from 31 BC to AD 14, and it is known as the golden age of Roman history. This is the reason we call English literature this is Augustine age in English literature. If we talk about this age, the age of prosperity in France, it was Louis XIV. Louis XIV was in French in France, which was the most prosperous age. So it is also called. And if we come to India, so which age is the most prosperous? When we had Chandragupta second in Indian history. So that's why in literature it was the age of Virgil, Horace, and Ovid in Roman. All right, in Rome. And let's talk about a little bit more about this topic. That and in English literature, uh, this Augustan age was chosen by the writers themselves, who saw in Pope, Edison, and Swift, Johnson, and Burke. These are the important writers and who were writing in a great way. That those were Pope, Augustine, Swift, and Johnson, and Burke, and they were little equivalent to those of the writers from Greek. Those were Horace, Virgil, and Cicero. So if there is a comparison between writers, and if we want to have idea about who those people were, because whom we call it an Augustan age. So Augustine is called because of these writers in English. In English, we had Pope, Edison, Swift, Johnson, and Burke. And in Rome, with whom we were comparing these, those were Horace, Virgil, and Cicero. All right, those were parallel. This is also called. This was an age of apparent peace and prosperity, as I have already told you that after the restoration of monarchy in 1660, we know that 1660 was the year when there was restoration. It is called also a restoration period. England saw an era of apparent peace and prosperity. No doubt there were such social calamities and upheavals as there was Great Plague in 1665 and Great Fire of London in 1666, and the Glorious Revolution in 1688, and the Dutch Wars and the Seven Years' War. England marched on the road of peace and prosperity after this. So this 18th century was also called the century was it is also called the period of stabilization. As we know that the writers can write in a better way when there is stability, whether we can talk about political stability and social stability in that age. So this was also called the age of classicism in literature, English literature. And like Pope has said about this age, that learn hence for ancient rules a just esteem, to copy nature is to copy them. Let me read it once more for you. Learn hence for ancient rules a just esteem, to copy nature is to copy them. Now here nature is not of that kind of nature which romantic people romanticism followed. This was the nature of individual personality, like what a person thinks, what a nature an individual have. So it was quite different nature than romantic romantic writers. So like Wordsworth were talking about the nature, the mountains, the rivers, and uh, the winds, the flowers, the trees. But here, the nature was about, they were talking about the nature of a human being. Okay, simply. So, if we talk about again Pope, he was following classics. So, if we talk about a classist, who is a classist? Who is not following his emotions? He was adhered to the set of rules what the great writers of Rome following for writing their works. So if you are a classist, you will follow rules. If you are a romantic person, you will you will follow your passion and your imagination and your fancy. Like you can see the fancy and imagination and other things in Wordsworth and Coleridge. But if you go for Alexander Pope, you will find rules there. Here, one more quality of this time, this is was the dominance of heroic couplet. So, what heroic couplet is? It has two iambic pentameter, and it is rhyming. We know, and we know that the heroic couplet was brought in English literature by Chaucer in his Canterbury Tales first, and it was also called an age of prose and satire. In that is we find lots of works by Swift and Edison as satire. The best satires were written by Edison and Swift. So, like Matthew Arnold declared that Dryden and Pope were the classic of prose and not of poetry. The other great writers of this age were all prose writers of eminence, like Swift. We have Daniel Defoe, Edison, and Steele, who wrote a type of prose which is still held in high esteem even this time. And if we take the comment of W.J. Long, the graceful elegance of Edison essay, the terse vigor of Swift's satire, and artistic finish of Fielding novel, the sonorous eloquence of Gibbon's history and of Burke's oration, these have no parallel in the poetry of the age. Besides this, this was the development of modern prose we see here, like in Swift's Gulliver Travels and Pope's The Dunciad and The Rape of the Lock. These are the satire and the spectator papers. These were the satire written in this age. Hopefully, you have got enough idea about this age. First of all, if we talk about this age, the 18th century, the 18th century is called uh, the age of reason, the age of prose, and this is also called age of Augustine. So the main what we can say, the main question was why this is called Augustine age. So the answer is it was the most prosperous age we can call it. So there was parallel in Rome. We have the Augustus Caesar. That's why it is called Augustine age. And if you take the classist like Pope, we had Ovid, Virgil there. So hopefully you liked this video. This was my first time when I go live on my channel, and unluckily today I didn't have my good webcam here. Hopefully next time I will be bringing that here. I was just testing this one, uh, how people go live on YouTube, and this was my first time. Hopefully you liked it. Bye bye. If you want to send me some messages, you can just chat with me. Let me send you some. Let me send you some message. Hi. Uh, did you get the idea why people call 18th century Augustine is? Yes. If you are still watching me, you can go there. You can comment. We can talk here. Just we can chat for few minutes. Let me see who is there. I have 4 viewers right now. I don't know what this link does. So guys, if you want to chat, we can have here nice discussion. So this is called Augustine is because of we have the parallel in Rome. Hopefully you liked it. So bye bye. Take care. See you. Happy learning, and see you soon.